What's up, everyone? This is Anthwon Thomas back again with another episode of the High Value Agent Podcast, where we inspire people to create a better life through real estate. And joining me today is someone who I have a lot of respect for, someone who I believe is genius when it comes to really building rapport with people, being able to help agents across the country be able to increase not only their lead conversion, but overall become more efficient in what they do as a professional when it comes to communication. The one and only Nikki Pais. How you doing, girl?
I am so good. Thank you for having me. What an intro.
Yes, it's my pleasure. And I do want to kind of I'm gonna have you really share your background before we get into all the good stuff. But if you don't know who Nikki is, if you've been living under a rock, Nikki is the conversion coach at Digital Maverick. Okay. Like I mentioned before, she coaches hundreds of agents, and this is on a weekly basis about how to build rapport, establish authority with buyers and sellers, and build their business. Today, we're going to dive deep into her growth journey, where she started from, what inspired her to get into the coaching space. And by the way, she is one of our coaches. Being transparent, she's been made a huge impact on our business here at Silverline Real Estate Group. But here's the reality. Here's why I have Nikki on this call. Not only is she a badass, but the reason why I wanted Nikki to be on this pod episode is because your level of skill in communication is going to be a direct impact on your level of income. So I just need Nikki to bring her expertise, and as she always does, because she's a contributor, be able to provide value to the audience. So Nikki, I'm gonna throw it to you, girl. I've said enough. You're the star. You're the star. Nikki, share with everyone, a little bit about your journey in real estate and then how you became a conversion coach.
Sure. So my journey, like most individuals, did not start in real estate. I did not. As a matter of fact, when I was younger in high school, I swore the only thing that I was ever not going to do was real estate. I didn't understand it. And if I'm being even more transparent with you, when I started as a real estate assistant, I did not even know what the word mortgage meant. And I was sitting in this interview, and this man was throwing every type of normal jargon and jargon that was over my head. And I would write down everything I didn't understand, and I'd go home and I'd watch YouTube videos. And I'd be like, oh, okay, so the difference of this means this, and this type of loan meant that. Okay, and when he said that, and I was hungry to understand. That has not changed. And for that reason, when I started, I really had the fire in my belly, which most of us have. We're like, I'm going to make something out of this. I have the ability to directly control my income. And the very first guy that I worked with, I asked him for $1 raise, and he said no.
Wow.
Thank God. Thank goodness. And then after that, I called 10 different teams in my city. I was living in San Antonio, and I said, these are my skills. This is what I have been doing for this broker. Do you think anybody in your office would benefit from something like that? And 3 of them offered me interviews. All 3 offered me a job. And then I got my first exclusive lead generation position. There was no script when I started. I was not provided with one. I was very ambitious, but my CEO said, sink or swim, figure it out. No script. What you should be collecting is criteria, motivation, and timeline. You figure out how you're going to make that happen. And I biffed it 1,000,000 times. I just wouldn't be outworked. And so I had really significant results, and that translated over and over and over again. Most ISAs, inside sales agents who start, someone who's kicking ass is doing like 40 closings in their first year, and I did 96.
Sheesh. Hey, I told y'all she's the badass, y'all. What's cool is the fact that, like, I can totally relate to the in high school, who's thinking about real estate? Like, who's thinking of, because we don't even know, at least from my upbringing, my mom was an entrepreneur. as well, but she never really, it wasn't about real estate. She always told me I was going to go to college and be a doctor or a lawyer. So when I went to university, that was my ambition, was to be a lawyer. But who's thinking about real estate? So I can definitely attest to that. But thinking back, wow, just only if I was thinking about real estate and I got into real estate right after high school. Wow. Mana, I appreciate you sharing that. I love the fact that you have grit. Shout out to the boss or whoever who did what they didn't want to give that raise. Hey, shout out to you, because of you, we have Nikki today in our lives. So shout out to you. Well, let's talk about where you're at right now, Digital Maverick, right? And just more in detail about what you do to support agents in succeeding in this business, because it's easy, it's simple, but it's not easy. So what are you doing on a daily basis to help agents grow?
So with Digital Maverick, those of you who already know Travis Halverson, he is the other half in Digital Maverick. We realize that there is a major reoccurring pain point that will likely resonate with a lot of listeners, which is that there are tons of leads. Not everybody wants to work them. Everybody tends to lose stamina at some point to say, well, I don't know what to say next. And for that reason, that means that there's a lack of accountability. So we are those things. We are, hey, when you get the lead, here is what we should say. This is what the follow-up should look like. These are all of the ways for you to not lose your stamina and to make sure that your touches are of value. And then with the systems and procedures to help with accountability along with that supplemental coaching. And that's exactly what Digital Maverick is.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I connected with you and Travis. It was in 2024, so last year, and we were making a transition from, at that time, it was Chime, then it turned into Lofty CRM. And then we were like, you know what, this isn't really working. We got to figure out a better solution for our accountability, our lead management, database management, all that stuff. So we made the change to Follow Up Boss. And at the same time, I heard of you guys. I mean, obviously, like the Cheplack, world, and then Preston, Guyton, like I was familiar with these incredible guys already. And but when I connected with Travis, I think it was on Facebook, I believe, had to been Facebook, and you guys were coming out with data DCM, was the database conversion management.
That's right.
Yep. So I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to make this happen. So I got on a call, and the rest is history. And I do want to point this out here, because I mean, I share the facts, I share the data. I'm not afraid to share the reality of what's happening within our team. In 2024 compared to 2023, we increased our production by 47, almost 48%. And a big reason of that has been because of Nikki and her skill set that she brings to the table, Digital Maverick, and then obviously like being able to really be bought in with Follow Up Boss has made a huge impact. And I'm talking from a team standpoint, but when I look outside here and I look at my agents on the team and the money that they're able to, the income that now they're able to generate to feed their families and build wealth. There's people on my team right now who are buying investment properties because of the help of Nikki and Digital Maverick. So I just want to give you a shout out. I honor you. I appreciate all you do. You guys have made a huge difference. So, all right. Before I start getting more riled up, because I do want to talk about let's talk about conversion. I mean, we can unpack this. Now, I do want to say, y'all, if you don't know me, like I absolutely love the game of communication and building authority with a client and being able to convert leads. Like one thing that I enjoy, and I know Nikki does as well, is being able to have empathy and make a client feel confident in your ability to get the job done. But you have to earn that right to do so. And so let's unpack the conversion strategies. So what would you say are the biggest mistakes that you see agents make when it comes to converting leads, right? So what are you seeing typically agents are doing that isn't really working that well?
So first, I'm going to answer you, but I just want every listener to know that the impact that Anthwon has with his team is so significant. I appreciate you giving so much credit for what Digital Maverick does, but the culture that is within his hub, seeing team after team after team, that is something special all on its own. And it is not exclusively metrics that make something happen. It is the fostering of relationships that says, you know, I believe in you. I can see you doing it. I'm watching you improve. And so that entire culture is already in place. So it was only at my ability to be able to increase the success that you already have going. Okay.
I appreciate you.
To answer your question, the number one mistake that I see agents making is that they are married to their script. They have it and they stop being human. This is my next question. And even though you just told me something tragic, my script says that I'm supposed to say, great. And they just read line for line. And so there is something to be said about agents who have a script, but use it instead as a safety net to say, no matter where this conversation goes, I know where I can safely continue my conversation. But that should never take away from that ability to communicate one-on-one and to build rapport. The funny thing is that not one agent wants to talk real estate 100% of the time. And even so, in all of their conversations, they only talk real estate. Where's the opportunity to build any of that rapport? So that's definitely the main mistake that I see.
So good. Remember when I sent you last summer, I had a script or a framework I sent over to you called Winning Relationships.
Yeah.
And I was like, Nikki, I need your help because I created this because I wanted us to be more human with the people we're talking to and not follow. And no disrespect to my people who use like LP Mama, and there's nothing wrong with it, right? I do genuinely believe that scripts are your guardrails in a conversation, right? But I sent this framework over to Nikki and I was like, please, I just need for you to put your skills and your expertise and rain on this framework and make it even better. And she went into the lab and she gave her touch and she gave us something that we've been using ever since. And what I have found is, because Nikki's, I 100% agree with her. We are in the human connection, human relationship business. We are in sales, but people don't care about what you know until they know that you care. How are you able to have that type of conversation, helping them self-discover, asking questions, your tonality, your pacing, being able to help them feel warm and comfortable with you? Only then do you earn the right to really talk about the opportunity of helping them, right? Winning relationships, Nikki helped us with, and it's been helping us be able to get in front of people and change lives ever since. So it's been good. Let's talk about some of the things that you're noticing, you know, teams or agents that you're coaching on a daily and weekly basis. Like, what are some of the top strategies that, you know, people are using, things that you're coaching on that's helping people convert at a high level?
So I'm really big on things that are practical, y'all. I absolutely love mindset, but mindset sometimes can get into the clouds, and then somebody is feeling really motivated, but they don't know what the heck they're supposed to say when the moment comes. So I'm going to tell y'all the strategy that I really recommend, which is, rather than exclusively working with your script, you want to get into that rapport. You want to do that relationship building. You take something that they just said and you develop your next question from it. For example, if somebody just told me they are looking for a change, that and nothing as of right now are the same. I don't know what that change means. And too many rookie agents say, awesome, I got the motivation. They wanted a change. What on earth is the change? Which makes that your next question. What sort of change are you looking for? I'm looking for a change of pace. Okay, well, tell me, what is the pace right now where you're currently living? What's the pace in life? XYZ. It feels very slow. I want something. I want to be able to do things. I'm so bored where I'm at. Okay, and after you've made this move and we've left that boredom behind, tell me, how does life look day in and day out? That is true listening. Where we make mistakes is we're not actually hearing the person. And so the one strategy that I'm seeing where people talk about going 3, 5, 6 questions deep, right, It is from what the lead said. It is not you creating new conversation that is separate from what they were just talking about.
So good. Oh gosh. Like I'm looking at the time because you're saying things that are making me have more thoughts about, oh my God, we can go this direction, we can go that direction. And I was like, I want to honor your time and not be on here all day, but there's just so much good stuff. I actually call that, it's great that you brought that up. I call that level 3 conversations, right? Like, for example, if I'm talking to somebody, let's say it's a seller, and she's like, yeah, we're looking to move to Atlanta. It's like, okay, great. Like you mentioned, some rookie agents, well, hell, even some veteran agents, right? We'll take that as, oh, great. Well, let me, get your home on the market so we can get you to Atlanta. It's like, well, why is she moving to Atlanta? Tell me, what's taking you down to Atlanta? Oh, well, I want to see my granddaughter. I want to see my granddaughter. Well, that's a level 2, because now we identified Atlanta, right? Which now is irrelevant, because if granddaughter was in Texas, then it would be Texas.
Yep.
But now we know it's granddaughter. That's important. Yeah. Okay, great. Well, how old is your granddaughter? Oh, well, she's only a few months old. And okay, great. So when you move down to Atlanta, are you going to be moving, in proximity to your granddaughter, like the same community? How close are you trying to be when you move to Atlanta? Well, actually, we're going to be moving in with my daughter because my daughter is going through a divorce and she has to go back to work here in a month. And my because of the nasty divorce, it's a nasty one, my daughter does not have the funds for a daycare. So we're going to move in with my daughter for 6 months. Then we're going to look to buy our own place. Okay. So my people who are listening to this, that's a level 3 conversation that has teeth in it, right? Now, Atlanta's no longer relevant. Granddaughter's still relevant, but now we understand why, and there's more emotion behind it, right? When you genuinely can unpack what is important, nobody wants to sell their home for the sake of selling it, right, Nikki? No,
not one
I hate
person.
moving.
It's the byproduct. It's the result of what they're looking to do. Yep.
Bingo. So now it's like I'm taking this individual who I'm communicating with, and I'm no longer the agent that just wants to sell her property. I'm now the agent that wants to help her get to Atlanta to be with her granddaughter and help her daughter while her daughter is going through this divorce, right? So now you build more of a connection, more rapport. Okay, so I'm glad you brought that up, because even today we talk about it all the time on our team, and we still struggle with it. We still struggle. Look, Nikki, I'm an agent who struggles with going 3 deep, really uncovering the true motivation in the clients that I'm helping. How can you help me right now? How can you help me be able to identify a way to make this a habit of mine? What would you say?
Answer. I want you to stop trying for the first time with your leads. I used to do it to my friends and family because I realized that the truth was I was not inherently curious enough. If somebody was not volunteering information to me, then I had no talking points. And so if you really want to get good at motivation, what depths of the people around you do you truly understand? And even to the extent that you know them, how much more are you missing? You want to get good at anything. It does not exclusively come during game time. It is practice. It is practice after practice. More athletes practice than they ever play on the field, right? So I would say you want to get good at anything we're talking about. And even some of you who are thinking that you excel at this thing, why on earth would you stop sharpening that skill? Practice on your phone calls, call a family member, call a friend. Next time you see someone in person, see how many questions you can go, and you'll discover people love to talk about themselves. They feel closer to you when you give them the ability to do something like that. So if you're wondering, how on earth do I get good at this? Do it on your off time. That's how you're going to get better. And something I want to highlight, I hope that everybody was listening. Anthwon has also really taken an attention to detail because he is controlling both his volume and speed in his questions. He's not rushing through them. Questions progressively get slower the more serious it becomes. And his volume goes from and a bigger sound to that lower and lower and careful. That volume and speed, some of us, we don't even acknowledge. We're so programmed on the way that we've been talking our entire lives that we don't adjust those two things. Those two things as well. You want to get to be a professional. That is the sales technique. Understand controlling your speed and the volume that you are saying anything.
So good. Ah, man, I love it. I love it. And I would even add, because this is me talking from my personal experience. I've been in real estate a decade. I always like saying a decade because it sounds sophisticated. Like, oh, it's been 10 years. Like, it's been a decade. When I got into real estate, I learned the better I was at my presentation, the more confident I would be in the dialogue with the client initially, right? And the more, because of my confidence level, I wasn't afraid to ask these questions because I knew that I can actually help them. I felt confident in my ability. So I would highly recommend people, like, if it's a seller, do you have a listing presentation? Do you actually have value to provide other than showing up and having them sign a contract? If it's a buyer, can you help navigate them through the crazy market that we're in right now? You know, when you're working with a buyer, and can you present and articulate your value well enough? I think I heard this from Matt Smith. Value unarticulated is value unappreciated. So if you don't know how to articulate your value, it's probably going to be hard to do what Nikki's talking about, right? Which Nikki said practice, but also make sure you're practicing your presentation too. You got to know when you get in front of them, because that's a part of conversion as well. You got to be able to close that deal. Good stuff, Nikki. Okay, man. Well, let's if you want to, if you're open to this, I would like to talk about like systems, technology. I mean, we can even talk about how and you can use us as a subject, right? Using Follow-Up Boss and some of the things that you guys notice. Because by the way, if you don't know, Nikki is a coach, and Digital Maverick as a whole, they support some of the top teams in the country. I mean, how many leads do you think you guys have managed over the past, I don't know, year?
We have communicated with something like 6.4 million leads, like communicated back and forth with over the last year. So a ton.
Yes.
We've communicated with a ton.
I would say some of the, probably maybe 50% of the top 50 teams, maybe even more than that, Nikki has her impact on those teams, in those brokerages or teams or agents. So with that being said, what would you say as far as the CRM goes and lead management systems to maximize conversions? What would you recommend for an agent, whether they're a brand new agent or maybe they're a team leader trying to figure that out? What would you recommend?
These would be my 3 main things for y'all. And I'm going to try to keep them CRM anonymous, because even if you weren't in FUB, these strategies are not exclusive to your system. Okay. And the first thing would be that while you are doing lead generation, you should be doing a call, text, and email until you have engaged with them. The steps I'm going to tell y'all, they are elementary. It is just a matter of implementation. Okay. You call, text, and you email until you get a hold of them. The second thing that I would tell you is once you do get a hold of them, it does not matter what the lead says. They could tell you that they love you and you're the only person they want to work with. Or they could say, I'm not interested, and immediately hang up on you. Your habit is, regardless of what they have said, you send a text message after, and your text message ends with a question. That is your habit. It should begin to feel strange if a call has concluded and you do not immediately go to type something out to them right after. Okay. The power of that is 2 things. Number 1, most of us, when we get a spam call, if we hang up, there is no text after. So we assume not a real person, not worth our time. And so many people apologize for hanging up when they get that extra text. The second thing is I cannot depend on a solid 5-minute, 15-minute conversation to actually have an impact where they're going to think about me 2 weeks from now on their own? Very, very unlikely. So I need to go back and forth 5, 10, 15, 20 messages if I can subconsciously. Now they have a realtor. Even though we haven't signed paperwork, that relationship is being built. And with questions, that gives them something to reply back to. The third and final thing is this. Once you do communicate with a lead, you need to talk to the lead for 3 days in a row. I would encourage every single person right now. You're coming up with excuses. You're thinking, no, Nikki, because they told me they're not selling for a year, and they told me they're not buying for 6 months, and they told me. Those are all excuses. Here is what I see over and over again. You talk with them for 3 days in a row, and by doing so, you have helped maintain either their excitement or you yourself have built the sense of urgency. And over again, people are doing showings, writing contracts in the same week because they kept that communication up. Now, it is at y'all's discretion, listeners. If you know what you want those 3 touches to be, you do them. I'm going to tell you what I do. My first day, after I have talked to the lead, I call them again and I say, hey, are the listings as expected? Any deal breakers, must-haves? Okay. I found one. I really think that this one stands out. We should go to take a look at it. I'm trying to set an appointment if I wasn't able to do so yesterday. Day number 2, I cherry pick a property and I say, this one made me think of you because you mentioned there are allergies in the home, so we can't have any carpet, no carpet. And there's room in the backyard. So when you have guests over, there is space. Scale of 1 to 7. How do we feel about this one? No neutral number there. Pick a side. And then day 3, I asked one question I don't have the answer to. I meant to ask, are you selling property before you make this move? What's the maximum HOA you'd ever be considerate of? That is 3 touches. Even if they weren't to pick up, we are talking and talking and talking, and that changes y'all's results. Just too many times you won't talk with them often enough and you miss the deal.
Y'all, that is going to be the most replayed, or it better be, because she dropped straight fire. And I'm sitting here like I'm gonna have to re-listen to this so that I can bring it to the team. This is going to be a part of like onboarding and weekly trainings. Nikki, that was so good. And one thing that I really love when it comes to you get off the phone with somebody. Let's say you do set the consultation, do a good job. The person has some intention to make a move maybe in the next year, right? You want to get in front of them to establish that relationship. When you hang up the phone, 100% what Nikki said, you got to reach out to them multiple times. I like sending a video text right after hanging up the phone, so then I could put face to voice, right? And then I can future paces to what's going to happen next. Okay. Which if I already did that on the phone call, I'm going to do it again. I need them to know that I am a real person. I'm a real human being, and that I'm there to support them. So video text. And by the way, if you are having people ghost you, maybe you did set a consultation and they never showed up. That happens. By the way, stop. All right, now I'm about to go on a rant. So Nikki, I made a post about this on Facebook today. I stop being so entitled and stop being so not understanding that these are humans that we're helping, and things pop up in their life as well. And if they don't show up, give them grace. Yeah. Give them grace. And instead of you saying, hey, you didn't show up. Hey, can we get back on the books? Or, okay, they didn't respond. Next day. Hey, can we get back on the books? Next day. Hey, can we send them a video text and just say, Nikki, I haven't heard from you. And honestly, I'm just concerned. I just want to make sure, are you okay? Is there anything in the world I can do to support you right now? I just want to hear from you. Or is everything okay? Like, come from a place of human, like we are humans. We're here to help these people, not, man, forget the sleeve, man. I'm about to put them in a pond. It's like, man, come on. These are humans. Nikki, you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I sure do. Number 1, that's a pro tip. You want to talk about things to replay? Get out of your own way. Your ego is interrupting your entire pipeline, just so you know. All right. The further that you distance yourself from all feelings of self-importance, the more closings that you will end up with. That's the truth. The second thing is this. What Anthwon just said about double checking that gets replies. Because the truth of the matter is, y'all, you will 100% ruin your chances with a lead in the event that something did come up, in the event that something tragic took place. You have absolutely no idea. And for that reason, there is never an instance for you to respond as a jerk. That's the truth. Okay. I do want to highlight one more thing about that video text. So what Anthwon just said right there is, after, if they miss the appointment, he's pulling out his phone to record it in the moment. All right. Some of us are so focused on getting something perfect that it would need to be glossy, and you retake the video 5 times, 6 times. Just commit to action. Anthwon and I will both be further along by doing things imperfectly than by doing the amount of things that I would have accomplished if only I had got it 100% perfect, which it still won't be. It still won't be.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
No, I definitely want to just encourage agents, like, who gives a damn what you look like, how you sound on the video. Like, me and Nikki are on video, and I guarantee that there's been times I shot a video and I didn't have my beard lined up. I didn't have a fresh baldy. I didn't, like, what I'm saying? Like, some people even be tripping, man, I gotta put some cologne on. Like, for what? You're shooting a video. What are we talking about? Well, how do you get those captions on? It doesn't matter. Just shoot the video.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. Cool. Let's talk about what are some, and this is something to where I know people are already thinking it, like, well, what if I get this objection, or what if I get, and by the way, there are differences between objections, conditions, and questions. So I think we need to establish that too. But what are some of the common objections that you see agents face, and how do you coach them to overcome them?
So we're going to highlight what Anthwon just said. A question is a question. When somebody asks you, what is your commission? That is not an objection. That is just a question. They do need to know the answer. Okay. So many times people are like, what do I say? Honestly, say the answer. They just asked you a question. All right. You can follow up with a question after and say, is that as you expected, etc. That's fine. But first, that's what a question sounds like. Excellent. Next, there are conditions, and conditions must take place in order for something to happen. I have bad credit. I am currently at a 479. That is a condition that must be adjusted to be in a position if they are looking for a loan and don't have 100% cash to make this purchase. Okay. Now, where some of us make mistakes is that we are unable to identify what is a condition or an objection. Objections are things that we can solve, which means if somebody just says, I have bad credit, I am not sure yet whether that is an objection or a condition. All right. The truth is that bad credit, I have made this mistake before. I had somebody tell me they were at a 650 after I asked. I said, okay, and may I ask, where is your credit score at as of now? Oh, I'm at a 650. Okay, well, as it turns out, the average consumer may not know where they need to be. So we're always going to ask clarifying questions. Remember, you only get paid on what closes, and your unwillingness to ask one more question may result in you not having a transaction at all. But when it is an objection exclusively, here is what we do. The first thing that we do for every objection, I'm worried about interest rates, Anthwon. Heard. That is us ignoring it. And we pretend it wasn't said. That's the truth. It's gone. It may not come up again, because it's highly possible that that's like an awkward handshake. It was just word association, and you said real estate, I said interest rates, and that's not a real concern. If it's real, it will come up a second time. So the second time that it is said, we still put our ego to the side and we don't go straight into solutions. We say, is there anything else besides blank that has you waiting as of now? Is there anything else besides interest rates? And this is where most of the audience, we lose. I used to do it myself. I was so happy that I asked for something else, I would immediately start to solve again. But that left more to be uncovered. So you ask over and over again, anything else, anything else, anything else, until you have an entire list of what you are addressing. And then this is the pro tip, we do a tie down. And so if it was Anthwon and he told me that it was his spouse is not on board and the interest rates are a concern and they have to sell their home, and now we're finally at the end of the list, I repeat that back. And this is a psychological commitment. And so I say, all right, Anthwon, so to clarify, if the interest rate was where you were comfortable, if your spouse is on board, and if we're able to sell your home, you are ready to make a move. Is that right? And the only answer should be yes. At that time, now you can finally let your ego out for a second, and let's try to decide what was most important. It was spouse. Nothing takes place without the spouse being on board. And now I start to ask my questions. Now I can finally start to handle. But you can't put yourself in a position to solve without being a slimy salesman that they said something and you made it go away, and they said something else and you made it go away. You're breaking their trust because you did not hear them all the way out.
Masterclass. I could not have said that any better. Y'all, it's, you know, when it comes to handling these objections, you got to follow that to a T. You got to, and don't practice on the client. You got to practice the stuff like she mentioned before with people who are obviously like knowledgeable in this stuff, so then they can give you the they can make it tough for you. Because I always say you want to bleed in the practice, right? You don't want to really just, you know, take your lumps in the actual battle, but you have to follow this process. I tell the team all the time, you got to be an authority when you are working with clients. I define being an authority as getting buy-in from the client to follow our process. But you have to earn that right to be an authority. And being an authority, you want to create that authority with the client in a way to where it feels good. It's acceptable, right? Like if Nikki was meeting with her CPA, she is going to look at her CPA as an authority, and it's going to be acceptable, right? So you want to be able to create that with the client. But my point is, if you don't follow what she just said when it comes to handling an objection, number one, being able to identify what is it, and then if it is an objection, being able to isolate it, right? Being able to in your tonality and everything, you should be curious in your tonality and your pacing, right, while you're doing this, and then be able to handle it in a way that continues to build the rapport instead of breaking the rapport. If you do that, then you become an authority, because these people start to trust you and they see you as someone who has credibility, right? Beautiful.
There are so many people that think that authority means to be aggressive, and that's where we lose leads. And they say, but you told me to be an authority figure. I completely agree, but aggression is totally different. And that's like a whole TED talk for another time, y'all. I hope that resonates. I hope that resonates with the audience. But truly, y'all, there is a way for you to help people make decisions without you being aggressive. Friendly reminder.
So good. So good. Yeah, I mean, there's like 50 different ways I want to go right now. We're gonna have to do a part 2, man. This shit is too good.
I would love it. I'll be back. You tell me when.
Oh yeah, I already know you have a heart of contribution, so I already know you want to give back. So, well, let's do this. What would you say? Let's talk about this year. We're in 2025. Okay, we got people. Man, I saw a stat, and I keep seeing it recycled on Facebook. 70% of real estate agents did not sell a home in 2024. It's crazy, right? I mean, there's people that are getting into the business every day, and they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. So 2025, man, I mean, we could have another year where 70, 80% of agents don't do anything. So Nikki, what would you say are some of the key habits that if an agent wants to have a great 2025, what are some of the key habits that you see great agents doing right now? Or, you know, what would you coach these agents to do?
The best agents are authority figures to themselves.
Ooh, fire.
What you should be doing is honoring your commitments to yourself. Because I can't tell you this is how many calls you should make. If you are a full-time or part-time agent, that may be different. What matters is what you have committed to yourself that you wanted to accomplish. If you were part-time and you knew that you only had 30 minutes every day to do lead generation, then that would mean there are no emails, there's no social media, and whether you feel like it or not, you would be completing that commitment because you are honoring what you told yourself. I can give you a list of habits, but more than likely, the people who are listening know what the habits are. You need to recommit to honoring yourself and what you told yourself you wanted to do. The moment that no one has more authority over you than yourself, you are winning. Even myself, at times, I am having that conversation again to say, Nikki, you told yourself you were going to be up at 4:30 a.m. and we slept till 5:30. But if you had to meet somebody at 4:30 a.m., Nikki, wouldn't you have been there? Why would you honor somebody else more than yourself? And I'm recentering and making sure that I honor the commitments I've made to myself. If you would do that, you would be fine. Forgive yourself for yesterday and start today.
You are incredible. No, that's awesome. Like, you got to have integrity. It shows, man. It shows. Like, if you could try to fake the funk, you could try to be confident, right? But confidence without evidence is delusion. So you're just out there doing stuff that's not, like, and it tends to show up. Why didn't you hit your 20 conversations this past week? Well, this, and if you really unpack it, because by the way, from a team leader, if you're a team leader, this is going to really help you. Okay. Everything that Nikki's talking about, you can apply this to really building a strong connection with your agents too, helping them self-discover, right? Asking them questions is going to help them identify, like, where's my gap? And growth is in a gap. And if I can identify that, now together we can establish a plan that I can hold you accountable to it. But to my point, the better you can be at the sales stuff, the connecting stuff, the more success your agents will have, the more agents will see value in you as a team leader, because you're able to help people move the needle in their life. Okay. So as a team leader, if you're not doing the things that you should be doing as a team leader, like showing up in the office and, making the calls with the agents, if you have agents not making the calls, we'll deal with them, have integrity, right? If you have a call, we had a call blitz not too long ago. I was in the matter of fact, Nikki was on one of them, because we did the easy community. What did we call it?
Yeah, the conversion night, easy community.
Yeah, conversion night. I think I set 3 appointments that night. Nikki beat me, but but I was in the trenches with my squad, with my team, And so if you're not doing that stuff and being an authority with yourself first, it's going to be hard for you to be an authority for anyone else. So beautiful. Well, shoot, let's get ready to wrap this up, man. Like I said, we're going to do a part 2 because this is too good. So Nikki, you and the entire Digital Maverick family, you guys are all incredible. And I know for a fact people got a lot of value in this episode today. I know for a fact. With that being said, how can our listeners and the audience be able to connect with you if they want some of your coaching, they want to learn more from you? How can people reach out to you?
Yeah. So my Facebook and Instagram are the best ways, y'all. You message me. My name is Nikki Pais, and on Instagram, I am Nikki the Writer. All of those words come from me and my pen, y'all. Yeah. And the reason I tell y'all that is ultimately this is a matter of y'all being invested in your skills and your craft. So even if you faced an objection later and just wanted to hear from somebody else and said, well, Nikki, what would you have said in this instance? I'd be all too happy to tell y'all extra ways and brainstorm with y'all. And in addition, I will be speaking at certain conferences. So if you want to get face-to-face this year, those conferences will also be shown through Facebook and Instagram.
Yes. And I will be seeing you at some of these conferences. So absolutely. And we'll end it with this, y'all. My commitment is to give back to this community. My commitment is to have people who are smarter than me, better than me, on these episodes to be able to contribute. And Nikki, with that being said, I do want to honor you and thank you for your time. As always, it's a pleasure. And by the way, if you don't know, so another thing me and Nikki have in common is we love music and dancing.
Yeah.
Okay. So we ain't gonna like right now because for the sake of the pod, but at some point, I'm going to post something of back in the day when I showed Nikki one time. Oh god, where were we? Nashville.
Yeah.
Nikki made me show her a video of me dancing, like I don't know, it was several years ago. And it was very embarrassing.
Quality. No, not embarrassing. Anthwon is being subtle, y'all. He's being like self-deprecating, but it's not true. I'm telling you, I saw this and I was like, sir, where are these moves on a daily basis? He has a little something. I'm just telling y'all. You want to talk about community? Not only is he excellent at what he does, he has all the spirit too. Just say.
And now Nikki, so the same way I felt embarrassed about my video, we had a dinner with some other people in the Cheplack community the next night, and Travis showed me a video of her dancing that she did not want me to, but and that was where I saw, well, Nikki bad, like she can get it cracking now. All right, if you on the dance floor, you want to battle, Nikki will get at you, and she got different styles too, so don't get it twisted. But anyways, all fun. I appreciate you, Nikki. Thank you for all you do. And yeah, we'll get a part 2 here soon.
Yes, sir. Till next time.
All right, y'all. Y'all take care. Peace.